guys, we are back from Cells to Shows with Trinity, and guess what? Today I'm in the hot seat. I know I always have everybody in here asking them all these hard-hitting questions, but today my sister will be my voiceover and interviewer, and she's gonna ask me all the questions that maybe you are dying to know, or I'm just dying to tell, whatever. So we're about to get started. I'm ready for my questions and to be in the hot seat.
Have you ever dated an officer?
Not while I was working, but I dated someone prior to being an officer, and then he became an officer. So you figure out if that counts or not. I don't count it, but hey.
Have you ever been attracted to an inmate?
No, but there are some handsome inmates, but me being attracted to them, no, I was very serious about work, so I made sure not to cross that line. But I'm not blind, so yes, I did see people that looked great, but nothing that I would pursue at all.
Have you ever gotten into a physical fight with a coworker?
No, but I found out after I left that there was a lot of people that did not like me. I didn't know that, but I got a lot of phone calls from very close friends of mine with people that had a bunch of issues with me that I didn't know. I wish they would have told me so I could have figured out what the problem was, because if you don't like me, then I don't have to be in your space. But I think it's more dangerous when you're around someone who doesn't like you and they're learning everything about you. They're feeding into everything that you do. They're watching the way you walk, the way you move, your pockets, everything. So I would have much rather them let it be known instead of wait until I wasn't there. So shout outs to y'all. You can still call me.
Did you ever hit an inmate physically?
No, not on purpose. There's been times where I had to straddle an inmate. So the incident that happened was there was an individual who stole one of our equipment. So we used to have different materials at our desk and in the closet where we would have to utilize, to do inspections and things like that. So we called it a rubber mallet. It was a wooden handle with a rubber, hard rubber piece at the top. So a time when I wasn't at work, the inmate got his hands on this equipment and was traveling from jail to jail with it, which says a lot about the fact that he was able to move around with this hammer, so to speak, because he wasn't getting checked going from area to area, which is really not a good thing. So he was able to hide that object, and he didn't want to be in our jail anymore. So he knew that if he did something drastic, he would be able to get sent to another building. So what happens is he has the mallet in his hands. He's coming through. I'm like, what's going on here? He ends up throwing the mallet over my head to the other inmate, and I had to grab him at his waist and push him back away from the other guy. So it was never really me physically punching or kicking an inmate. It was always me trying to utilize different tactics to restrain them from hurting someone else. So another thing about that situation was there was an inmate that there was an officer that I was working with that, to try to clear his name, he ended up trying to say, oh, well, that's not my equipment. That's Officer Trinity's equipment. I don't have nothing to do with that, and thought that he was selling me out. But I write too well for that. And also they have cameras, and they realized that it wasn't me, and everybody who thought it was and was saying that they caught me on camera, I was actually not even there until the incident actually happened. So shout outs to y'all. Thank you.
Did you ever deal with sexual harassment from coworkers or inmates?
As far as coworkers, I wouldn't say that it was harassment, but everyone's in an enclosed environment, and maybe their sexual tension was high. Mine, I just kept it separate. But they'll try to talk to you, try to see where your head is. They'll try to see if they can talk to you, take you out, ask you out to dinner. Take me out to dinner. They'll try that, but I never really went out that much. I was real sporadic with that. But as far as individuals, yes. The inmates used to have like a food cart, and they would say, yo, this is what I would do to her. And they would stand in front of the cart and motion positions, that they would do to me. So I would have to sit there through that and act like I didn't hear them or didn't see them doing these things and motioning these different situations towards me. But thankfully I made it out unscathed, but yeah, it happens.
Are you afraid of what the department can do to you?
Well, they've done something. I had applied to work in other areas, and unfortunately, they did do certain things to block those transfers. But at the time, I thought it was a negative thing, but I was able to turn it around and use that roadblock to advance in other ways and other careers. So I moved on from that point. So, thank you.
What was the saddest thing you have ever seen in the facility?
The saddest thing that I've ever seen was probably like the individuals overdosing. I've never really been around that. I'm a big person that watches like intervention and like all these drug shows to constantly remind myself of what I don't ever want to experience. And they would try all these different things. At one point, they had the fentanyl like on papers. They would even put fentanyl in a Bible and rip the pages out and break up the pieces and do all these things, and you're trying to like intervene, you're trying to take it, you're trying to take all these things from them, and you're just one officer. You cannot control their drug network. Basically, you really can't. Like, you're just one person. So seeing them take these drugs and falling out, throwing up, they can't hold themselves up, they're trapped under somebody's bed because they can't physically control themselves to stand up. They're trying to clean them up with the hose that's in the janitor's closet. So I think that was the saddest things. And also people losing family members and finding out in jail and not being able to say their last goodbyes because they weren't approved to go to the funeral.
What was one of the craziest moments that occurred in jail?
We had a lot of crazy moments, but I think what I remember a lot is just having to suit up after you just suited up. Like, you would deal with an incident, then a fire would happen. You're sitting in your chair and the door next to you is going up in flames and you can't get out of your seat because if you go, your clothes could catch on fire. So you just feeling like you have no solution, nowhere to go, really. You're sitting in the chair, this person is upset with someone on the other side, but the flames are on your side. So now you're sitting here praying that nothing else catches on fire, that you will be trapped in that chair and can't go anywhere, and nobody can come to save you until they get the fire extinguisher, hoping that it works. So those are some of the things that I would say that would be scary.
What would you tell a new officer coming into the career?
I would say stay prayed up, know why you're there, make a timeline of the things that you want from your experience there, whether it's monetary benefits, whether it's your connections, whether it's a certain position. If you're going there and you want to go the supervisor route, make sure you do everything to pursue that. If you're going there to get your home, make sure you get that. Don't let the distractions of your partners, of the environment, of your family, of any of those things. Stay on task, and make sure if you feel uncomfortable about something, don't be afraid to say something. Find someone you could trust. Find a way to report it so you don't feel that you're stuck and you can't express yourself properly and you're suffering in silence, because that's the wrong place to suffer in silence.
How did it feel to get sprayed in the face with chemical agents?
It wasn't bad. I know that sounds crazy, but what happens is they say that if you eat a lot of hot foods, that your tolerance for the habanero peppers and the chemical agents won't affect you as much. It burned, but what happens is that you're standing there, your eyes are closed, and they spray like this. Then they tell you to blink. So you blink, and the spray is going all around your eye, and then you have to go and fight. So me knowing that I didn't want to lose, I wasn't really thinking about the spray. I blinked and blinked and blinked, and I'm crying and I'm fighting because I wanted to get through that course, and I was imagining myself being in a facility, and I have to fight my way out. So you have to punch a little, kick they'll hold something on their arm like a some type of board thing or whatever. Then you have to pick up a firearm, then you have to pick up a stick, and you have to do all these certain tactics to get through the course just to get the job. So for me, it wasn't that bad. I completed my task, and I've been around a lot of spray. I got hit with regular chemical agents, MK4 and also MK9 at the same time when there was a melee, which is like the inmates were running rampant all throughout the whole way, and we were spraying them and spraying each other, and I got sprayed twice, so my tolerance for chemical agents is very high.
What are you most grateful for from the Department of Corrections?
I'm grateful for the learning experience. I'm grateful for the good people that I met, and even the people that are not so good, because I learned how to navigate my relationships with different people, that although these people may or may not like you, you can still be a professional. You can still treat them, kill them with kindness. I'm grateful that I positioned myself to be able to purchase a home. Although there's a lot of things that, were negative, I enjoyed that experience because that experience brought me to the space I'm in now. And I realized that I don't have to only be there to make a certain amount of income. I can use everything that I learned there and put it into something else. So I'm grateful, that I did stay there, but I'm even more grateful that I got out before something so bad that I can't reverse happened to me. So I'm grateful that I was able to leave in time.
How does your family feel about your career choice?
Well, I'm the type of person, I just take any job. So I don't really ask my family, but now that I'm doing this whole documentary, I found out that they were just so worried about me, and I feel so bad that they were going through this, and they didn't want to express it to me because they know that I'm like always going so hard about employment, going so hard for my business, that they didn't want to like take me off my track. But I feel bad that behind the scenes they were suffering because they really didn't know if I was okay. Like they couldn't call, or they probably could have called, but who knows who is going to transfer the call at the right time. Maybe they don't want to call and hear bad news. They have to wait until I get home and then call. I put them in a tight situation, and, I am sorry, that I did that, because if I would have known that it was affecting them so much, I probably would have figured out a better time to leave, or a better time to start my exit plan from the department. But I'm grateful that, the times that I was around, I was able to be there and enjoy the moments. But I really do wish that I would have known, a little bit more about how they felt, that they were a little bit more transparent with me, but everything happens for a reason. And, we're all grateful that we're in this space now, and that we can talk about it freely.
Did you ever have a crush on an incarcerated individual?
No. They had crushes on me though, but no. There was one guy, there were some people that made, like, I think I mentioned in another episode, they used to write letters. They make you all types of gifts out of tissue paper, and they color it. They'll like put the water here, and then take the tip of a marker and color the water, and then dip the toilet paper in it and lay it out, and then design it into flowers, into hearts, into all these different shapes. It's like unbelievable, and it's beautiful. It's crazy, but not enough for me to start a relationship with you. No. But they do become infatuated with the fact that there's finally somebody that is being nice to them, because you don't really know what walks of life these people come from. So you just making sure they eat breakfast. They're like, I haven't had breakfast in who knows how long. I haven't been eating in who knows how long. So me personally, towards them, no. But towards me, I do see that there were some people that gravitate towards me when I would come into the facility. Even my perfume, they would recognize. They would know when I was off. They knew my schedule. And you have to be very careful with that, because you being, you're doing your job and you're trying to treat people with respect and treat them well, because you don't know what walks of life they're coming from. That little bit of endearment that you're giving them is changing their whole life without you doing it on purpose. You're just trying to do your job, treat them with respect, and get the respect in return. But I'm thankful that nothing either way happened, and I was able to get through my shifts the way I needed to. But yeah, it does happen.
What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear in life is failure. I don't want to fail at anything that I put my mind to, but I am getting better with change and adjustments, even though I flip out. Behind the scenes, everybody knows that I flip out. But in real life, I am making strides towards accepting things that I can't control, but it does take a lot, especially retraining my brain from everything that I've been through prior. Yeah, that's big.
What is your biggest regret?
I would say that I don't really have any regrets. I try to turn everything into a learning lesson, and I don't want to regret. I'm not going to say that I never will ever regret anything, but I try to turn even the most negative situation in my life into a positive the best way that I can, and just try to, learn from it and the next time do it better.
What is the biggest misconception about you?
That I'm mean. I think so. I don't know. I guess people can make a comment about what they thought of me, but people think I'm so mean. I just don't walk around smiling. I don't know. I do smile. I have teeth, but I don't just like just all day long. And people stop me in the street. They're strangers. Put a smile on your face, girl. And I'm like, but I'm just trying to cross the street. Why are you screaming for me to smile? Like, who just is down the street like that? And why am I the lucky person that has to do it for the community? Like, I don't understand. So I think that people think that I'm mean. You have to talk to me, or you have to make some notion, because most of the time, honestly, I'm always thinking. I'm thinking of what I'm doing next. I'm thinking of my next plan. I'm thinking of my next project. I'm thinking about where I'm going to take my son. I'm thinking about what I'm going to cook. I'm always thinking. So I guess my thinking face is not the happiest. I'm sorry, but I have to think. So I'd rather think than just walk around smiling and not be thinking.
What do you feel about your life after corrections?
I am so happy. I had a lot of happy times in corrections, but my life after, which really was unknown, me not knowing what the next phase of life was going to be after, because my whole plan was to stay there, do my 22 and a half years, get my son's college fund, get this, get that. And I was able to do it. I was able to purchase the home, which is one thing that was on my list. Dream car, still loading. Storefront loading, vending business loading, all these different things that I have in mind. But, I don't know. I just felt like I didn't know if that was really an option. If you leave this salary, if you leave this environment, no one's going to pay you. You're not going to get that. And people are telling you this. So while you're thinking it, and you might see something that might pay the same, there's people saying, you ain't never going to get the overtime that we get over here. You ain't never going to get that bag. Or, they're constantly telling you if you leave, you're not going to make it. So, it was a life changer. But I am happy, and I'm doing well. And I pray for those that don't have a voice, that text me, and I'm not gonna, expose them, but there's a lot of people that reach out to me and they want to know how, and I just try to support, stay prayed up, and, if any way that I can help you. I'm not on a campaign to drag everybody from the department. If it's working for you and you're doing well, continue that. I'm happy for you, but there are a lot of your partners that are suffering and don't have the courage to say that they are suffering, So try to be nice, try to help out, try to give them a snack sometimes when you see they're on the double, because that could bring them up. That could bring them up to, a better space. But, my life is good, and corrections has helped push me in a great direction. So I'm not going to say it's all negative. It's not. But I had a lot of negative moments, and I'm glad that I was able to turn them around.
What is the hardest part about being a business owner?
That people think that it's so easy. People contact me and think it's so easy. Even my son is like, when are you going to be done? Aren't you done yet? and I feel guilty, so I try to maximize my minutes every day. Like, okay, he wants this certain meal, I'm gonna cook it early because I have to shoot. After I'm done shooting, then I'm gonna plan. Then after I'm done planning, I'm gonna watch a movie. But after the movie, I'm gonna stay up all night and talk to vendors. So the overall plan is to make sure that I help my family and push them in another direction. It weighs on you, even though they're not asking me to do this. I just feel that I have access to these resources that they may not be privy to. So my goal is to learn all these things in all these different areas, connect myself to all these people that can benefit them. And I do that with strangers. So it is my duty to help my family if I can help a stranger with no problem. So I really want people that are looking into entrepreneurial lifestyle, and they want to be a part of this, and they want to create a product, or they want to rebrand a product, they want to do all these things. There's levels and new levels and new devils, seriously. So as you're progressing and you're trying to work hard and do all these things, you have what you do that for. You need this, you need that. You wake up to text messages is no support. So if you're just doing this because you want support, you may not get that. So you have to stay focused on the lane that you're in. But my overall plan is to just help as many as I can without losing myself. So as I'm helping others, I'm not going to give them my last and then I'm left with nothing in the sake of helping. So I'm becoming smarter with my help. My help is strategic, not because it's benefiting me. It's really to benefit you. It's like I'm thinking for the both of us. I'm not the smartest in the world, but I know what I'm doing when it comes to certain things. And, I just wish anybody who decides to become one, do your research in whatever field that you're interested in. Align yourself with like-minded people, with successful people. Research online, research with books, go to different events. Involve yourself in different circles of people that you may have not dealt with before, because you never know what you might learn. And you have to be mindful that you cannot take everybody with you if they're not ready to be taken. You know what I mean? They might be in a space in their life that they're not ready. So you forcing yourself to make them ready is only going to stress you out and make them upset because they're not ready. They know they're not ready, so they're upset. Now you're upset because you're forcing your help on them and they're not receiving it the right way. So you'll learn a lot, but you will see more on the next episodes. Stay tuned, and thank you for joining us again on From Cells to Shells with Trinity. I have on my time on Rikers Island on From Cells to Shells with Trinity.